Sick little Billy, by the way.
That is good, eh? Some homeless bloke ganked that for me.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah. The man, the myth, the legend. Slops. Slops.
Whatever you want, man.
I seen you throw up either slop or slops.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Slops. Yeah, you know,
it's fucking crazy because obviously I knew you were pretty good. I had a suss of your page when we were like trying to organise to do the podcast and shit. And then like today and yesterday, it was like a fucking expo. I fucking was scrolling all the way down, and I was like, "Fuck, this cunt's good." Like, you're fucking really good. Like as an artist though, not even like in terms of graffiti, just in terms of art.
Yeah,
like
nah,
you can tell that you have like a good perception of art.
Definitely, and a few people might know that I've hit them up with little ideas and stuff. People will ask about like, how do you pick your colours? It always seems like everything's so organised, and I do have good memories of art teachers in school, especially high school anyway, where they're talking about like, I don't know the full terms of it, but basically there's like a colour wheel. It's like the science of how colour works, colours balance, colours like set each other off. I don't know the full lingo for it, but basically there is law behind colours of what works and what doesn't work, and I've definitely in the last 5 to 10 years tried to incorporate that into what I do big time. Like there wouldn't be many pieces I've done or many bits of any art I've done that I haven't taken a slice of that sort of idea into what I'd take out with me to get shit done.
And it's funny because like the more I do this podcast, because I've done podcasts with like I wouldn't say OGs, but a lot of yous are like second, third generation graffiti artists. And what I've learned is it's not just fucking gang shit, because like when you're not involved in graffiti and you don't know any graffiti artists and you don't talk to them a lot and you just see graffiti, your like thing with graffiti is probably it's just dickhead getting pissed and fucking scribbling on shit. But there's so much more to. That probably is what it is at the start.
It's a big element of the beginning of it, I think.
But then, like we were talking off camera, you got to there comes probably a point where you bridge the gap between either just keep doing that shit or you kind of hone in on your art and you take a more artistic side to your shit.
100%, man, 100%. I think you got... the way I see it anyway, my opinion is only my opinion, and others will see it differently. Others might not see it like this, but I see there's vandals and there's artists, and sometimes you'll get like a crossover of the two spectrums, but I think, and it shows in graff too. Like you said, sometimes it just can look like a bunch of piss kids running around thrashing shit, but then you start to notice other art. There are people who are always trying to push themselves to do better things. And that's I don't know. If you've got the ability to critically analyse yourself and not feel bad about it, every single piece, for me anyway, there's lessons to be learned. Nothing's perfect. Nothing ever is perfect. You've always got one thing you're looking at where you're like, oh, next time I'd do that different, or I'd do that in a different order, or I'd use those colours differently next time, or there's always something to be learnt from it if you're pushing for the artistic growth. But definitely, I think the roots of graff, there's vandalism connected to it as well. So, yeah, you get like a spectrum of that whole vandals to artists sort of vibe for sure.
Did you used to smash train?
I have painted on one train, I reckon. One train?
Yeah.
Just to tick it off the bucket list, but it's never been a big pursuit of mine. It was a freight, but...
It is a different... It's a heaps different genre of graffiti when people get obsessed with panels.
Oh, 100%.
It's like a different... It's like a sport.
Yeah. I think you've definitely got to have an element of...
you got to be willing to fucking go to jail, bro.
Yeah, 100%. You got to be prepared to be red hot and know it. And if you don't know it, you're going to find out, I guess. But yeah, the trains thing is more of an adrenaline junkie thing for sure, I reckon. You know, like... If you can't handle your adrenaline and stay focused, it's not going to fucking work, I don't think. And that's just from a guess, but I don't perceive that we live in a town where it's even a highly accessible thing. Like, painting like transits. I don't know. People who paint trains have got all the lingo, but painting transit trains in Adelaide doesn't seem like it's an easy thing to do. And it doesn't seem like it's the sort of thing where you get much time unless you are fucking lucky or you know exactly what you're doing and exactly where to go at the right time. But compared to other countries, especially, and even other states in Australia, I don't see Adelaide as having like a easily accessible train painting
Everyone
scene at all.
says trains in Adelaide's fucking hard because there's fucking 2 lines. Like,
There's not a lot to choose from. There's very limited time from what I've heard. Like, I've had plenty of people talk to me about, oh, you could do this, you could do that. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you got 7 minutes to do that, man. Like, I'm probably having a dart and fucking lining up for like 10 minutes sometimes just so I can suss out what I'm doing. Like, there's my time gone. Like, yeah, I don't know. I definitely like to piece for, like, on an illy mission, like, minimum an hour sort of thing. Like, sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know, like, if it's a chilled spot, longer. But I definitely desire to be able to study the finished product a bit more and put out something a bit more detailed with a bit more thought into it. But hats off to the dudes who get away with it and do it, man. There's plenty of them doing it in Adelaide still. It still pops up, so...
And when did you start? When you were pretty young?
Yeah, the first tag I ever did was on the back of a bus seat when I was in year 6 or 5 or 6, I reckon, with a fat green Posca. I still remember it well. And the first thing that fucking happened is I was in primary school. There was some high school kid. This is back when people used to smoke ciggies on the bus, up the back of the bus on those big double bendy fucking buses. And some dude from a local high school who was already on the bus must have seen me do it. He's come straight up. He's grabbed the texter out of my hand and fucking lined my tag and gone, now you've been toyed out, man. You can't write that anymore. And I was like, you can't say that, mate.
What a dog.
Oh, but I knew nothing, you know. That was my first experience of doing a tag and instantly experienced some
Just
sort of fucking conflict straight away. He didn't take the texter. He gave it back. But, yeah, I was sort of shocked because I didn't know what I was getting into. And I was just like, a bit gobsmacked. Like, what the fuck was that? You know? Getting a bit hot and sweaty in my fucking school uniform, sitting there like, what the fuck was that? But, yeah, it didn't stop me, man. I was always sketching tags and pieces and stuff in primary school. I've loved it, man. Loved it for a long time.
And we were saying before, like, fuck, your shit, because your shit's, like, pretty technical, it would have been fucking expensive to do. Were you always like that? Was that always your kind of style?
No, not at all. I think I wasn't somebody who ever had parents who gave me any sort of like relative amount of pocket money. I remember in high school, I think up until about year 10, it was $2.50 a week. I think we went for $10 a month. And so it wasn't a significant amount of money. You could buy yourself a nice coffee once a week at school or something like that. It was fuck all, you know. So I was the kid who was scabbing ciggies, scabbing weed. I wanted to do all that shit, obviously, but unless it was like birthday or Christmas time and I had a bit of cash behind me, I didn't have a job on that when I was in high school, so not until later anyway. So, yeah, at the start it was stealing a few cans here and there, but usually just trying to pile together some money here and there if I could and use whatever I had, man. Just cheap and nasty, man. Like export chrome was a go-to for a long time, man. But later, being a grown man with a job, you know, you got $1,000 a week or more or whatever, you can start to go shopping in the fucking good paint stores and collect the nice things and put a bit more into it, put a bit more thought into it.
Good paint makes such a fucking difference, eh?
Huge.
It's
huge.
Insane how much of a difference good paint can make.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing and you know what you're aiming for, there's no comparison between like cheap hardware store, you know, cheap as chips paint to like actual paint made for graff. Like, I mean, you can still make a shitty mess with graff paint too if you don't know what you're fucking doing. But yeah, if you know what you're doing and you got the right nibs and you know
that's the thing. It's the nozzles as well, and just there's so much shit that goes into it.
And even then, you know, like what one man does with a New York fat cap, another man might do with a different cap, and everyone's got their own little favourite things they go to for sure. But yeah, 100%. If you've got the cash, you can definitely buy the better tools to play with. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's fucking. You see, like, kids now, because they got so much access to social media and shit, and they're seeing, like, cunts graphing heaps now. You see, like, kids now throwing up shit that's like, fuck, I couldn't do that till I was, like, 25. You know what I mean? It's like this
100%.
14-year-old fucking kid.
Yeah, 100%, man. Social media has changed the world in many ways, and I think with all kinds of creativity, you know, like, people are watching other people, like, doom scrolling on other people all day for the last 10, 15 years. That's become a serious fucking human habit, is sitting there just wafting around in other people's business. And especially younger people are going to try and emulate the things they perceive to be cool or getting attention. They're going to fucking have more ways of seeing it, more ways of seeing into those, like, lifestyles or those creative worlds. They're going to get better ideas at a younger age. And the amount of shops and stuff online, like, most of the paint brands have got their own Instagram pages and Facebook pages. You can just go shopping on social media for graff stuff. Like, that didn't exist when I was younger, man. Fucking there was no digital photos, let alone shops and stuff where you could just chuck in fucking credit card number and get paint and texters sent out to your house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's another whole world now, man.
And usually on the pod we'd be fucking like, I'd be smashing a couple beers or something, but you don't drink, hey?
Nah, man. It's actually just recently been 13 years off the piss.
13?
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
It was
good on you.
Pretty close to... Yeah, nah, cheers, bro. It was close to 10 years solid as a flat-out alcoholic before that. Probably like 8 or 9 years, I reckon. Yeah. And it was really starting... It probably always had a negative effect on me and my mental health, but that was a time where, once again, no social media, that sort of awareness wasn't out there as much. It wasn't a commonly spoken about thing. If I heard the word depression... Like, my mum had depression when I was a kid. I didn't even know what it meant. She didn't know how to explain it to me. Like, she was on antidepressants. I didn't even get that. I had no understanding of it. But, yeah, definitely drinking sent me down a pretty dark path of just self-destructive mental state and making other poor choices as well, you know. But each to their own. I say anyone who can have a drink and not just get sucked into needing to get absolutely paralytic, fucking good on you, man. Like, I unfortunately have got that part of me that if something's addictive, I just want to do fucking more of it.
Yeah, I'm the exact same though. I don't think I've ever had like 2 beers.
Yeah.
Just 2 turns into fucking 12, and then 12 turns into a bag, and then
this is what I mean about the one thing leading to another. You know, like when you're drunk, your guard's down. You might, you know, you lose your inhibitions, but you lose your fucking good decision-making skills a lot of the time, and your perception's kind of fucking blurred as well, so yeah.
And it's hard probably in the graffiti scene as well, because alcohol and graffiti and drugs probably lend to each other really fucking well.
100%, man. 100%. I think... Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there was a big gap in my painting from like the early 2000s, once my drinking really kicked in when I turned 18 and I could just buy booze. I was working, could buy booze, every day was buying alcohol. That's when shit started landsliding fast for me. And honestly, that's when I probably stopped like focusing on the painting so much. I still was, but I'd be more likely to want to go out to a party or go to the city and go buy a 10-pack of pills. And you know, back then the fucking ecstasy in Adelaide was fucking mad. These days I've had a few pills here and there, and I don't think the drugs are the same anymore. Maybe I grew up. I don't know what it is.
Nah,
but
they're definitely not.
I don't think the drugs are the same, man, because back in the day you could have a fucking good tab of ecstasy and you'd be fucking up all night having the time of your life. These days there's kids having like 10, 15 tabs in a night and they're still going to bed at 5 in the morning. I don't get that.
Yeah, and they're fucking cutting shit now with like that nitazines and fentanyl in Australia now.
All sorts of shit, bro.
It's
you never know what
wild.
you're getting anymore with your drugs these days, man.
Even in the cocaine and the MDMA and shit, they're just cutting it and people are just fucking dying now.
Yeah, that's fucked. Yeah, maybe it's glad. I'm probably lucky I'm out of it then, because I was definitely an excess kind of guy with most things, and I'm glad I've done it. I don't regret doing any of the drugs I've done. Like, you know, 13 years sober might sound like some fucking super achievement, but I have been a drug addict of many other things in that time as well. So I haven't been an angel, that's for sure. But
drinking's just the one that gets you the worst.
Drinking, I guess when I first stopped, I was doing it because I needed to stop. But at the time, people would ask me, do you think you're going to stop for the rest of your life? And I just said, I don't know. You know what I mean? I might try and get to a year first, because at the moment I don't feel like I want to.
Yeah.
But as time went on, I found a confidence in myself that drinking kind of gave me, but it was clear. You know what I mean? Like when you're drunk, you've had 6 beers, you're in the fucking zone. You can challenge anyone at the pub to a game of pool and you feel like a fucking champion.
Yeah.
You know, you can go up and talk to random people, no worries. You can say whatever's on your mind in front of your mates, and, you know, you're 10 times more confident with it. I didn't have that when I was younger. I probably had serious low self-esteem issues and didn't even fucking know about any of that. I just thought whatever was happening was normal. But, yeah, when I stopped drinking, I started working in hospitality for the first time, and
You stopped drinking and then started working in hospitality?
It was a bit of one of those karma things, I guess, in a way. I guess you could call it, you know, because I was always the drunk patron, and all of a sudden I was like dealing with the drunk patrons and seeing what it was like to be serving people alcohol in the states they could get in that you could see they're not aware of, and how their attitudes change and stuff, and how they speak to people and how they're carrying themselves. And I was like, man, these people are still going pretty light on to what I used to do. I was a fucking menace and I didn't even realise, you know what I mean?
I think there's a whole culture in South Australia of just getting fucking loose.
It seems to be an Australian culture thing.
Yeah, Australia in general.
Big time.
I feel people from Adelaide get so fucking loose, because back in the day there never was like heaps to do in Adelaide.
No.
Like it's there's a lot to do now. But back in the day when I was like 16 to fucking 22, the only thing to do on a Wednesday to fucking Sunday was go out and get fucking loose.
It was pretty easy to choose, that's for sure. That's for sure. Parties, you know, you go to a party, you're either smoking weed or having a drink or whatever, you know, and then your mates have got something and you're getting on that, and then, yeah.
As I've gotten older, I've started to really fucking appreciate, like, mushrooms and just fucking, like, DMT. I've done DMT, like, maybe, like, 3 or 4 times.
Nice.
But fucking, like, just shit like that, like, not uppers, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, 100%, man. Things that you connect to yourself and the world around you a bit more, 100%. I respect that on a probably similar level to yourself. Definitely in the last, let's say, 4 years, I've had DMT for the first times in that time, and that's definitely
That's a spin out, eh?
Yeah, I'll talk about it later if we want to get into it, but me and my mate made a track the other day, and it was basically, it's like a tech house track, but we've just got some vocal samples of me talking about, is this like, am I nothing? Am I everything? Like, this is the most beautifully terrifying thing I've ever fucking seen. Like,
everything just melts, eh?
Yeah.
Just melts away.
And there's nothing anyone could ever say to you. Like, you can have a little bit of DMT and sort of go into this weird digital version of this reality, but if you have enough, you are no longer here.
That's right.
And your body is not even something you're connected to anymore. You are 110% in another dimension, and I don't want to go into saying I know where it is or what's going on, because I think it's one of the mysteries of the reality we're in, is you don't get to know all those answers. You just have to wonder.
Or you fucking go somewhere. But DMT is one of, like, the only drugs I would fucking recommend people to do too much of it. Like, you have to do enough of it, because there's such a fine line, and it tastes fucking disgusting. It's hard to, like, keep it down.
It's pretty pooey.
You have to just fucking do it until you fucking... It just, all of a sudden, it just goes...
Yeah.
And then you're not there anymore.
Yeah, you ask somebody about DMT, like, oh, have you had a breakthrough? And they're like, oh, I think so. And it's like, if you think so, then you haven't, because you'd fucking know. You'd fucking know.
I did DMT 3 times before I broke through, and I thought DMT was fucking wild. And then one night, me and the boys were all outside of this house, and we were all fucked, blackout drunk. And I don't know why, I was like to one of my mates, oh, you want to try some DMT?
Mad.
And they've never had it. And they were like, you do it first. And I was like, I've done it.
I want to watch.
I've done it fucking like 3 times at this point. So I was like, I'll fucking go smash a cone of DMT. So I've like wedged it in my bong. and I've fucking smashed it, and I'll never forget. I just remember smashing it and looking up, and then my whole backyard just sucked into itself, and I was just in pitch black.
Yeah.
And I get goosebumps thinking, it's the wildest experience ever.
It's unforgettable, man. It doesn't matter who you are, I don't think anyway. But yeah, it's one of the most just different things you could experience. There is not one word someone could say to prepare you for that. People are like, oh, it's like this kaleidoscope of colours, and you full get all like in touch with yourself and the universe and all this, and oh, there's like entities and things in there, and you're like thinking, hang on, what? What's going on? So it's pretty colourful, all right, and you're thinking of colours on this reality level. But for me, it felt like it was almost digitally perfect. Like, the colour was so bright, I've never experienced anything on a drug
just
like
crisp.
that. Like, you have acid, you can have 1,000 UG of acid, which is a fucking huge dose, and you're going to see colours everywhere and patterns and stuff, but you're still here. I'd still see you. You might look like an animal or something different, but you're still you, and there's like traces coming off you. With DMT, this just snapped out of that. It was just the most bright, colourful experience that was just something I couldn't have been prepared for, no matter what anyone said.
It's like
so weird and so powerful.
It's like when you do mushrooms. I got fucking terrible eyesight. Like, my eyesight's fucking horrible. But as soon as I do mushrooms, when they kick in, my vision is so fucking crisp.
Nice.
Like, I can see, like, you know when you take mushrooms and everything, so you can see the textures of shit.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, you, like, look at that fucking graff, or, like, the graff on the wall, you'd fucking just be able to see the texture in the fucking paint.
100%. And it's almost like you can see the order of the strokes of the paint and everything. You're like, wow, I can see in the timeline of how that hit the fucking wall.
And then DMT will take that and it'll just fucking flip it on its head. It's just a different experience.
Yeah,
it's fucking,
100%.
Do you know what though? I recommend it to people who are fucking not heaps mentally unstable, because I reckon it could fuck you up.
Yeah, I think...
I don't know. I don't think, because you come out of it pretty well. It's not like a mushroom trip. Like, I've had bad mushroom trips where you're just stuck in it for so long and you're just fucked.
Yeah,
and you're
having a bit of a gross time on it.
I always have like no matter fucking what I do, I always have like 1 hour on a mushroom trip where I'm just so frantic, and then everything just calms down and it's sweet. But the initial fucking rush of it, probably because I take too many. The initial fucking...
Can't have too many mushrooms, mate. Can't have too many mushrooms.
Mushrooms scare the absolute shit out of me, eh?
They I don't know. I think it's different for everyone.
It's just a mixed bag. You never know which mushroom's going to be the one to fucking do you over.
100%. You could have 3 little mushrooms one night thinking it's just going to put a bit of a buzz on whatever you're watching on TV or a video game you're playing or something, and it can put you on your fucking ass and you're in like dream la la land for the next 3 hours. Or you could have 4 grams one night thinking, I want that. I want to go in deep, and it might just skim a bit and you're like, what was that? What was that? So... yeah, I don't know. I think each mushroom's got something different to teach. I think that they affect you based on how you relate to yourself. Like if you're someone who can have a good look at yourself in the mirror and you're not afraid of acknowledging who you are on all levels. A lot of people like to blow smoke up their own ass and defend the choices they make rather than looking at the choices they make and considering whether they're the best they could make or not. Like things like this, different ways of seeing yourself. If you're good at being like positively critically analytical of yourself, mushrooms can seriously talk to you. Like, and I don't know if it's the mushroom or if it's just getting you in touch with your greater self or whatever.
Well, it just breaks down all of, like, your ego. Like,
100%.
Say, if you look in the mirror, you'll see who you fucking really are. And 80% of cunts won't like the cunt that they're looking at.
100%. If you're the sort of person who's trying to act like something you're not or hide things, you can't get away from that on the mushies. You're going to be having a rough time and you're going to be seeking distractions like watching a movie or something, because if you just sit there on mushies with nothing to distract you, you get in touch with yourself on another fucking level, man. Or for me anyway, I feel like it's showing me video footage of my life, but not even to try and make me feel bad. It's almost just showing me other perspectives of how I might be taken or did I realise this is how I am in these situations? And it's like, holy shit, this is some humbling fucking stuff here, you know what I mean? And I love that sort of stuff. Like for me, especially since I stopped drinking, I started a bit of a self-searching journey anyway. It took a lot of honesty with myself to admit where I was at was no good. And it was probably one of the truest, honest moments with myself I ever had. When I first stopped drinking, there was a bit of a like very close to suicidal moment there when it all sort of crumbled down and, you know, I was at a rock bottom with the drinking. That kind of honesty with yourself, like instead of just giving up and thinking, oh, you know, life's fucked and ripping my wrist open like I was fucking just about to, there was a voice in my head that started saying things like, you know, who are you to expect more from your life if you keep treating yourself like this? Who are you to expect better people to be in your life or a good partner to be in your life if you keep treating yourself like this? Like, if you want good things, you've got to do good things for yourself.
Yeah, if you're just going to act like a shit cunt and be a shit cunt, you're just going to attract other shit cunts.
Yeah, 100%. If you're not going to be honest with yourself, how can you expect anyone else to be honest with you? Like how it felt like, and actually it rocked me that moment. And I've since then I've read about things like spiritual awakenings and stuff, which I knew nothing about at that time in 2011. I've read about spiritual awakenings and stuff, and it fully sounds like that's what happened for me. And ever since then, whenever I've had a psychedelic experience or anything, it has been so much more profound and so much deeper than when I was younger, mucking around with acid and mushies and stuff, where it was all funny and laughy and giggly and everything's wobbly and cartoony and you're laughing your ass off till your chest hurts. But now I take that stuff and it's like...
You go in for a purpose.
Oh, dude, it's... I don't do it too often because it is special, you know what I mean? Where I was younger, we'd just be like, oh yeah, let's have a fucking acid trip. There was no reason. We just wanted to have an extra little kick on top of the drinks and the bongs on the weekend, you know what I mean? And definitely, yeah, mushies, acid, DMT, all of it. If you're someone who wants to know more about yourself and wants to improve yourself, they're going to benefit your life, I think.
Have you done... There's a ayahuasca retreat in Yankalilla.
I have done 2 ayahuasca retreats.
Really?
Yeah. I won't drop the name because he's. I don't think it's 100% legal to be organising these things. So I won't drop the name. But
is it stronger? Is it a different experience to DMT?
I expected it to be 10 times stronger, and it honestly just felt on par with a really nice fat mushroom trip.
I imagine they vary.
The first one I did, not much visuals. It got really intense for about 10 minutes, but it's a purgant as well, ayahuasca, so it's going to make you want to, like, cough your ass off at least, if not vomit your ass off at some stage, or have explosive fucking shit at some stage. Like, it is a purgant is one of the things that drug is, and that's how it helps you cleanse your energy. That's... I would say that's a medicine, not a drug. And if you're going to go take that medicine, you're not doing it just to fuck around. You're doing it because you're working on yourself and you've read about what people get out of these experiences. You wouldn't go fly to Peru so you could fuck around and have a bit of ayahuasca. You'd go there because you're feeling like your life needs work, and that's the avenue you've chosen to have a good look inwards and do some self-work and some healing and stuff like that, you know?
One of the blokes I've had on the podcast twice, Lee Ryan, this big motherfucker, biggest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life, bro. He's like 6'4", built like a fucking god.
Yeah.
But he's so obsessed with like trying to work on himself that he goes like, he'll take like 23 gram mushroom trips and just sit in a dark room for fucking 2 days. Yeah. He just went to, I believe it was his 40th birthday. Oh, I think it was for his birthday. He just went to the fucking jungle and did a week in at an ayahuasca.
Yeah. What, over in South America?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that's, I think Amazon. If you want to do it, and you really want to do it, that's the way to do it.
It looked wild. Like, it looked insane.
Yeah.
I still had to talk to him about it, but fucking, it just looks like if you have even the slightest demons in the back of your mind, that shit will fucking bring it out.
There's no hiding from yourself when you're in a state like that.
Yeah.
I think even... I don't know if mushies just work really well with me, but for me, a decent... like 4 to 7 gram mushy trip is kind of good, powerful mushies.
That'll fucking kill me.
That was on par for the same amount of like sort of duration, visuals I experienced, and same kind of feeling like there is a guiding energy of some sort there with you. They both feel very feminine to me. and I've read that too. Maybe I'm just thinking that because I've read it, but they seem kind. Like they seem like they love you, the energy. I think some of them I've heard like peyote or the mescaline that they get from peyote and San Pedro cactus. Apparently that's a masculine spirit, so that can maybe be a bit more rough with you. I don't know. But if you read into these spiritual medicines,
can get a bit fucking wild.
Yeah, I've got the cactuses growing at home, and I'm still yet to try it because something inside me is saying maybe now's not the time.
Is it the sap you eat?
I think with the San Pedro, I don't have peyotes. I've got the big San Pedro cactuses, and basically, I think, long story short, you have to cut it into slices. You have to cut the thorns off, and then you want to cut the green skin without too much of the white in the middle, because that'll make you feel really nauseous. That can be a purgant as well. Like you can make yourself have diarrhea or vomit as well. But I think you have to boil up the skin somehow for a certain amount of time. I don't know, but I have read into it, and there's different recipes will say different things. But basically, you're trying to extract something from that, and then I think you cool it down and you can just go for it. But I think I've heard that a piece about as long as your forearm and as thick as your forearm can be like a good decent trip for one person.
Jesus.
But one person might say that that's fucking insane and why would you do that much? But that's just like a go-to thing I've heard from a few people and at a few sources. But yeah, I'm yet to try that, man.
Did you find now that you like doing this shit and you're off the drink and you're pretty like sober and not fucking doing kind of scumbag shit anymore, your art's gotten better?
100%. But it's also...
Because drugs and alcohol are like a performance-enhancing drug for some artists.
Definitely, man. If you don't have the ability to be like people who, honestly, I find people who smoke weed might lack the skills to find relaxation and comfort in a sober state, which is, I'm not judging it. I'm just saying I know from myself when I was a stoner, it was my relaxing. I wanted to feel relaxed. Now, I've found a peace in myself for whatever reasons where if I'm relaxed, I'm relaxed. I can go to sleep like that. I don't toss and turn in bed anymore. Like when I was younger, I'd have to get up in the night and smoke bongs to go back to bed, or I'd just be up and my head would be going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I can let that go now. But yeah, with the graff and the drugs and alcohol, 100%, especially when you're younger, it feels pretty ballsy no matter what you're doing with that stuff until you get used to it. And having a few beers in you and maybe being a bit blazed and a bit like unaware of your surroundings on such an intense level definitely would help with it. But for me, I found that drugs usually, while they might give you a bit more confidence and yahoo as far as where you're going to go, where you're prepared to go, seem to take away from my can control ability to bring an idea together, stay focused on a bigger plan and not just fall into like a sort of a rut standard like process sort of thing. Like when I was a pisshead and shit when I was younger, I'd probably be doing a very similar piece most of the time. Still, I've never been big on taking sketches out, but I'd sort of find a comfort zone and know these colours go well, this piece will work, you know, and just do the similar sort of stuff. Whereas being sober and a calmer person, I don't even feel like there's adrenaline in me unless I need it. Like, and I've said that to dudes I paint with, they'll know that too. I've said, you know, you got to be calm because if the cops rock up, that's when you want to drop your adrenaline boost. You don't need your adrenaline boost while you're just kicking back and trying to let your senses be on point and just take things in.
Adrenaline dump when the fucking cops rock up and then you fucking
and then you're already exhausted, you know what I mean? You're already fucking rattled. You're not thinking straight. Adrenaline is flight or fight sort of thing, but you are not thinking clear. You are thinking in a savage mentality when your adrenaline really kicks in. So like if you're trying to do a piece like that, I don't think it's gonna, for me it doesn't help. I want to be calm. I want to hear well and clearly, and I don't want to be paranoid about every little thing I hear. I want to feel my surroundings when I'm painting, and if something needs to happen, then bang, adrenaline, and I'm off. You know.
What was the big? If you can tell it, what was the biggest fucking chase you had? Or have you been pretty lucky?
I haven't. I got done for intent of graffiti just before I turned 18, but since then I have had no convictions of graffiti whatsoever. But I've also been someone since 23, 24 onwards who's gone to the gym, kept pretty fucking fit. Despite all the drinking, drugs and everything, I've really enjoyed that. That's helped with my mental health and stuff as well. I believe in my ability to run faster than a bloke wearing long pants and fucking goofy cop steel cap fucking shoes and a 10 kilo Batman utility belt full of bullshit. I'm going to run faster than that bloke. Like, and that's not me talking fucking proud shit. I know that. Like, if I had that shit on, I wouldn't want to be running for very long. I might give them a 50 to 100 meter dash and they'll be like, oh, fuck, this one got away.
Yeah.
Cops aren't superheroes, man. From my run-ins with them, they're not the Terminator and you're not John Connor. They're not hunting you down that fucking hard. You might get one hero cop every now and then that might actually be fit as fuck where he'll give you a run. But generally my experience has been, don't freeze like a fucking rabbit in the headlights. Get your shit and get the fuck out of there and don't look back. Just keep going. Like, I've had to do fence jumps many times when I was younger. The closest I ever got to getting done in a chase and didn't get done was I was 17 and I was with a group of dudes who were all over 18, and the cops just pulled right on us on a main road. They all cruised. I've ducked behind a bush because I knew even if I got done then I wouldn't be in too much trouble. So I sort of ducked behind the bush knowing I was there, knowing they knew I was there. Everyone else fucked off. And then as they've come up to the bush with their torches out, I've just gone fucking bang and run for it. Had a cop on my ass. I could hear their jingle, all the fucking shit jingling around on their belt and everything. The other ones jumped in the car. I could hear that coming from behind me. And I just knew if I can get around this next corner, I'm getting away from this one on foot. If I can just get around this corner and get into houses, I'm fucking sweet. And I managed to get into a fucking apartment building like car park. And there's cars everywhere. There's 15, 20 cars all just sitting there. And I've ducked in, sort of pushed myself against the fence in the back of this ute tray. So if they were going to look under the cars with a torch, my feet or nothing was there. They've come through the car park. They've obviously seen me go in there. They've come through. They're looking around. They didn't bring the cop car in though. So the guy's walked in with his torch, looked around. As they've gone back out to the car, I can hear them on the radios and shit. And I'm like, oh, great. They're calling in more. I've got like 5 or 10 minutes to work out what the fuck I'm doing or I could be in big trouble. So I've unclipped the tarp on the back of this ute and put my paint in there. At first, I just wanted to not have the paint with me. And I was like, if I don't have the paint with me, I can probably just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm drunk. I passed out in this car park. Rah, rah, rah. If you don't admit to anything, they can't get you if they don't have you on the site. You know what I mean? So they didn't know what I looked like, really. They just saw a kid fuck off real fast, with a backpack. So I climbed up into the back of this ute tray, pulled the tarp back over, obviously couldn't clip it back in, but I'm just sitting there trying to be dead fucking quiet. There was fucking cops jumping over fences for like the next 15, 20 minutes they were coming. It was where like KFC and Pizza Hut used to be on Green Hill Road. They were jumping in from where that was over the fence into the back of these apartments. They were coming in from the front. There was a canine unit there. I'm thinking, I'm fucked. I am fucked. And I just thought, you know what? Your best bet is just to fucking calm down and go to sleep in the back of this ute. Calm down, go to sleep, and fingers fucking crossed you wake up and it's 5:30 in the morning and they've all fucked off because they couldn't find you.
Oh, that's so funny.
And there I go. I woke up and it was just crack of dawn. Like, it's cold as fuck in the back of this ute tray. And I was scared to pop my head out at first. I thought they're just going to be waiting there. They're just waiting there. I was young as fuck, you know what I mean?
These poor cops
they weren't
were
there.
probably like, where the fuck?
Oh, dude, because the dog would have been able to smell. I don't know what their dog's like, but the dog had no scent of me. So I don't know if that would have worked too well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm in a car park full of other people's smells and other people's cars and shit. So luckily they didn't have anything in mind they were chasing me with. But
hilarious.
Yeah, I ended up walking home the next morning fully paranoid, looking over my shoulder, thinking they're going to come and get me. They're going to come and get me. All my mates thought I was done. They were all like, fuck, he's done. Rocked up to the house. I went up home, had a little sleep, went back up to the house where we all used to hang out. And they're like, what happened to you? What happened to you? And I was like, tell this fucking story. And they're like, what? What? We thought you were fucking done. So like everyone got away with that. That was the coolest, like, super sneaky getaway. But they've been chasers, man. They've been chasers. But yeah, I've just been fucking lucky, man. I've just been really fucking lucky.
I've seen a lot of fucking police officers, and I've seen a lot in my day. And they're always fucking generally unfit cunts.
Yeah.
And I got into a punch on my birthday at the Grand one a Sunday. And years ago, I was in my low 20s, maybe 22.
Yeah, nice.
And I definitely deserved to get bashed this night. I started a fight with these two cunts, and they were smaller than me, and I'm not the tallest cunt, so I was like, I'll be able to fuck these cunts up. And then we went outside, and I looked at their ears, and they both had fucking full cauliflower ears, and I was like, I'm going to get pumped right now. And this cunt's like, I was like, all right, let's get it. And he's fucking just head kicked me straight off the bat. Not even punched me. He's just whipped his leg up as quick as fucking anything and got me right in the side of the head. And I'm
See you later.
Fuck's sake. So I've like fallen on the ground. I've like, my hands have touched the ground, and then I've looked up and I see fucking cops, and I'm like, I'm the only wog here, so I'm gonna fucking get arrested, and it's my birthday. So I'm like, I fucking just boog into the back of Glenelg, and by fucking chance, the cop that was chasing me happened to be the biggest, fittest motherfucker you'd ever see. And I've like...
You got the one.
I got the one. I got the only fucking cop.
You found the Terminator cop.
And bro, he was not... I could just see it in his eyes. He was not going to stop running. And I looked and I was like, for fuck's sakes. And I've just fucking jumped on the ground and put my hands behind my back. And I like, don't fuck me up. And he's running and he's just fucking boof, clocked me with his knee.
Oh, nice.
Because I've made him run like 2Ks.
Yeah.
And I was like, fair play. And then he's like... I was like, just don't arrest me, it's my birthday. And he's like, give me your ID. And I fucking give him my ID. He's like, okay, happy birthday. You're not getting arrested, but you're going to go get stitches.
Yeah, nice. Oh, well, you know, there's a bit of good and bad out of it. Yeah.
It was fair. I definitely deserved it because I fucking made the cunt run like 1.5 K, 2Ks.
Yeah,
but I'll never forget that. Just turn around like the only motherfucking cop in Adelaide that was going to keep up with me.
Oh, mate, if they're still going after 100 metres, they're not going to stop. I feel like most of them are going to gauge you getting away after 50 to 100 metres and be like, oh, fuck, I'm just going to jump back in the car.
Oh, you'd have to be so fucking unlucky. I had Hyphen on the podcast. He was the first graffer I had on, and his fucking chase story was the wildest shit I've ever heard. He broke his fucking hip bone off of his femur bone.
Oh, shit. And still got away?
He got away for like 12 hours. He was hiding under a fucking rock, bro.
Oh, couldn't move with a broken leg.
No, so him and his boy, him and his boys were graphing down the beach, and they were piecing up everything. And they were blackout drunk and blah, blah, blah. They were just... They graphed, and then they went back to go look at their graph.
Yeah.
And then the cops rocked up.
That's good to do the next day.
Yeah.
That's good to do the next day, I reckon.
I think like 4 of them ran one way. And apparently there used to be this cop that was very prolific for fucking hating graffiti artists down here. And he used to like love bashing graffins. And... So 4 of them have gone one way, and Hyphen's like, I'm smarter than you cunts, I'm going to go the opposite way. But this one cop has just singled him out, and he's like ran and jumped over a fucking like ledge, and he's landed. It was like a 2-meter drop, and then he's fucking gone, oh, I'm just going to run and jump over the next one. And he's ran and jumped.
Oh, no.
And he jumped off of a cliff.
Oh, shit.
He jumped like 10 meters down, bro.
Fuck, man.
He landed on his fucking foot, and his fucking femur bone just popped right out of his hip.
Oh, my God.
And he's like crawled and like climbed under this fucking like cave, like these rocks on this beach,
just to die slowly and pee. So,
and they had to airlift the poor cunt out. It made the news and everything.
Nah, that's hectic. That is. I'm just picturing the terror. You know, like when you step back off something and you're thinking you know how high it is, and suddenly it's like an extra 10 centimetres, and that gives you the shock of a fucking lifetime. Imagine it being a 10-metre. Oh, fuck!
Bro, I'll never forget when he told that story.
Oh, that's hectic, man.
I have the video here, actually. It's so fucking funny. He's actually similar to yourself. I enjoy when people have like a theme with their graffiti. And like there's a purpose to the piece, and fucking, he's another example of it. But your shit's always so well thought out.
Sometimes I say I'm a one-on, one-off guy, but I appreciate the kind words. But I feel like everything I do is some sort of an experiment most of the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like every second experiment works and then every other one doesn't.
Yeah.
Or like there's more to learn from one, or like, you know, something didn't go right, or a can stopped working, or something fucks up every second piece for me in my mind. But I'm pretty harsh on getting critical with the details on it all afterwards, to be honest. Like, I'll study the photos, not to gas myself
And you don't
up,
take
but to learn from it, you know.
any sketches at all.
I've
really
done that maybe 2 or 3 times ever in my life, and I haven't found it made me feel good about what I was doing, and I don't think it helped.
Yeah.
I think if you do a lineup, like your first sketch on the wall with a can, if you do that, and instead of just grabbing your fill cans and just pumping the fucking fill straight away, stand back and actually have a look, is this what I want to continue with? Because at that stage, you can change anything. Whether you need to get the same can and outline again and do a bit better, or change the shape of something a bit better, or you want to grab a different colour so it stands out more, whatever, just so you can see it all. I think to sit back and look at what you're doing is a crucial step in piecing without a fucking sketch, or even probably with a sketch. But don't just assume what you did first in a rush is going to be the thing that's going to look the best at the end. Like, you can stand back and you can be very thankful afterwards that, fuck, I'm glad I brought the top of that P down, or like shrunk that S down a bit, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's always
I do
room
like how you play around with the sizing of your letters as well. Your P's always are like, and a lot of your pieces are like heaps smaller than everything else.
Yeah.
And I think it looks fucking dope.
I feel like a P is like a...
It's a fucking ugly letter. It's a hard letter, bro.
It's a goofy ass looking letter, man. And I think it's got the potential to be a big hole in the middle of a piece. And if you've got like an O right next to it and you've got a P with a big top part of it, you've kind of like got these 2 big bubbles in the middle of your piece. So like, yeah, I don't know. I felt like making the S's stand out for me was always... Like, have an S at the start and S at the end was always like something I preferred to focus on
like
than to get a huge P going.
That's such a fucking hard word to graph. That's a fucking ugly word
They're
to
not
graph,
friendly
bro.
letters, man. They're not friendly letters.
They're hell jarring. Like a P next to a H. It's 3 letters, and 3 letters is fucking...
Yeah.
It sounds like retarded for people that don't know about graffiti.
Yeah.
But I imagine faux would be a fucking really hard tag to like a piece to balance, and fucking like he was saying, like I go on missions with blokes with 4 or 5 letter things, and I've got to fucking kind of stretch mine out before it looks stupid. Like, you know what I mean?
But he's done all right with it, man. He's got a crispy style. You know, he hasn't got like the wild style
He's got a good
much.
public style.
He has a very like a font almost, and he's got a few different things he's done. I remember he did a dope like cursive style one years ago in the city in one of those alleyways where RCF and that used to paint. And I think it was his son's name. It was a big Christian piece. And I didn't know that at the time. I just thought, fuck, that is so clean. And it was like 2.5 meter high letters, all perfect scale. Like, it looked like cursive, but in graph.
That's sick.
And when I was younger, you know, I was like 14 or 15 when I was seeing this. And I was like, holy shit, man. That is so clean,
He's
man.
a good cunt,
And
too.
I didn't even know that was faux back then. But then since then, I've seen other people post it, or he's put it on he puts a lot of old stuff. Like, he's a big revisitor of memories from what I've seen on his Instagram. And it's cool because he shows little bits of his old art, of other people's old art, holidays he's been on, other graphics he's met in other countries, history of like train line paraphernalia and stuff like this. Like, the dude's like a bit of an encyclopedia of the scene.
He's a historian of fucking graph, dude.
100%.
It's sick as well to have like podcasts with these people, because then it's up, because there's not much on like graph history, Australian graph history especially. It's dope that podcast now getting like you cunts on to talk about it. Like, there's a podcast in Melbourne, shout out to Maloney, 3000 podcast. I think he was a grapher as well. But he has some of the best graphers in Australia on his podcast.
Yeah, sick.
And it's fucking dope.
Yeah, nice.
Well, just quickly chuck on like one earphone so you can hear this. I'll put it on. Fuck, that was a mission. I post a lot of shit, eh?
I gotta have a look at more of your vids. I didn't realise how many you had, eh?
I've got a lot. Fucking Instagram. Why does it always fucking do that, muted?
Finished everything.
There we go.
Had mates in Melbourne and Brisbane hit me up while I was in hospital. We were doing like a big crew piece on the edge of a cliff. We'd finished and everything, and we're like, oh, let's go down and have a look from the jetty. And being drunk, we were like putting tags up on our way down there and stuff. Obviously, like a fisherman or someone from the public rang up the cops. So just as we got back up to the top of the cliff, we were going to the car, bang, cop car screeches up right next to us. The two guys I was still left with, they just legged it for the dead end street, which was a good 100, 200 metres away. And I was thinking, obviously the cop's going to go for them. His car's pointing in their direction. So I legged it back towards the Esplanade, thinking I'm being
Every
smart.
man for them fucking
Yeah,
selves.
and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go the opposite way. Unfortunately, the cunt slammed it in reverse, and he chased me like a motherfucker. Jumped over the rails to where the cliff is, jumped down the first section of cliff, which was only about a 6-8 foot drop. He was still coming, and because I was pissed, I just blind faith, just ran to the next ledge, jumped off, thinking it was going to be another 6 foot drop. No, it was like 2-3 stories. I landed on my feet, and it just snapped the ball of my hip clean off. Like it was only like flesh holding it on.
Just a little bit of graffiti.
Yeah, I had mates in
He
Melbourne and
fucking,
Brisbane.
he had to get airlifted out, bro. That's fucking, now in hindsight, that's fucking a funny, like, graph story. But, like, when it's happening, it's just like, this is actual putrid.
Oh, dude, that's horrifying, man. I just got a pain in my leg almost then. Just, yeah, that's hardcore, man. That I can't imagine the terror when you think you're falling a little bit and you just keep going, where your head would go and how fucked the landing would feel.
Oh, it's like when you're on a ride, man, and you get that gut drop, but it's like, I'm going to die. Like, it's different because you're on a ride, but, like, if you just jump off of a fucking cliff thinking it's going to be a fucking 1.5, 2 meter drop, and then you look down and there's just
That's a
fucking
different
rocks.
kind of ride, eh?
The things cunts do for graffiti is mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's insane, man. It's insane. I've definitely gone for some climbs up on like buildings to get to billboards and shit like that.
That spun
where
me
I've
out.
had to assess, this is a life-risking little thing I'm sizing up here. Like, yeah, I could do it, but the amount of times I could just slip, or this wall I'm climbing, like the fence I'm trying to climb up is shaking around like a motherfucker. So yeah, I might be able to get up there, but then I've got to like lower myself down onto this shaky fence with nothing to hold on to. Like it's, yeah, sometimes you just get halfway up a climb or something and it's like, you know what? My pride is going to have to take a fucking back seat on this one, and we're going to find somewhere else to paint tonight because I'm not planning on fucking being a quadriplegic after getting fucking 17 colours up on a billboard.
I've seen some pieces, bro, in places, and I'm like, how did someone even fucking get there? Like, there's those cunts in like Europe now that'll go fucking abseiling. Like, they'll just fucking throw a rope on a bridge.
That shit is insane, man. The ones that are like hanging down like high-rise buildings and they're going past like, I don't know if they're apartment windows or what, but they're going past people's windows, just hanging out for fuck knows how long on the side of a building 50 metres off the ground. I don't know if they do it all in one go on the way down or if they're going up multiple times and coming down again for an outline. I don't know how they're doing it, man, but fuck me, that is some ballsy shit. I don't love heights. I'm not the biggest fan of heights, but
It's impressive that, like, I remember I used to live in, I've told it before, I used to live in Hallett Cove for a bit, and there was like, we used to live near the train yard, and there was like a tunnel that the train would go under, but the top of the fucking tunnel was always graffitied, but to get to the tunnel, top of it, you'd literally have to get one of your mates to hold your legs.
yeah.
And you'd have to do it upside down. Like, you'd have to get a cunt to hold you off of the fucking railing of the bridge.
Yeah, fucking some of the kit some people are prepared to bring with them as well. Like, I've got a rule for me is to avoid being paranoid you've jeopardised yourself. Don't ever leave anything anywhere. Because I don't even know if cops check prints and shit that much. You know what I mean? But I don't want to risk that they do and get caught through that. Because I've had my prints taken for other shit. Like, I've been in enough trouble to know that I've had a DNA test done. I've had prints taken. There are photos of me on their systems. I don't need to take any chances with being like, I don't know what the word is, but just being too fucking blasé about what might pop up in the back of my head if I do get paranoid about something that happened one day. You don't want a list of things. If you're planning on lasting and not getting done, you don't want a list of things in your head. It sounds dumb being a grapher and thinking like this, but you don't want a list of things that when you start feeling red hot for whatever it is, you don't want a list of things that this could be because of that, or this could add to this, or this is going to link me up to that time now, or like any time I've had to do a runner, I will usually try and find somewhere to stash my tins, or they stay with me. I don't leave anything I've touched behind.
Evidence at the same.
Even if I've got gloves on the night,
Yeah.
I've probably taken those cans out and moved them around 20 times, checking colour schemes in the shed before I've actually put the gloves on and used them that night. I don't want to just take it for granted there's not evidence there, you know what I mean? Like,
There's like the most red hot cunt I've ever had on the podcast was Too Loco. This bloke from Sydney.
Yeah.
He just smashes panels. Like,
Yeah,
he just
right.
loves smashing panels around the world. He's travelled the whole world
Yeah.
smashing panels. And he's an older dude now, and he still loves it.
yeah.
And he fucking was in a tunnel, doing a tunnel in Milan, and he just straight up got shot at by the police.
That's fucking hectic,
yeah,
man.
he got chased in this tunnel, and he's like, I'm actually fucked. He got shot at, and then he like seen this ladder, and he's like, I hope that at the end of this fucking ladder, it's going to get me out of here.
Jesus.
And he just took a fucking faith. He was just running on faith, and he climbed this ladder, and he got out a manhole, and he fucking got out.
Fucking
But
hell, man.
he had to like flee Japan because he got done in Japan. And then he fucking got on a boat and had to go to Korea.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
The
Fucking
shit
getting
people
shot
do.
at, that's another whole level. You wouldn't get that in Australia. Like, I mean, you see it more these days. Cops are shooting at fucking dudes for doing cool shit, but they're usually people like
Not graffers.
doing like
Yeah, not-
armed robberies or some serious assault shit, and then carrying on when they get approached as well, like. But yeah, we're not from a country, thank fuck, where cops are just whipping out guns and shooting people for fuck all, you know what I mean? In America,
If we're in America,
I've heard some pretty sad stories of, like, I can't, there's one grapher, I can't remember what he writes, but I know he's got a story of him and his mate were climbing up onto some rooftop spot or some shit, and some dude, they must have climbed past his window. In America, they've got the little, like, emergency exit fire stairs that they show in all the movies and the shows and that. They're obviously climbing up something like that. And some bloke, you're allowed guns over there and you're allowed to fucking
Use
do whatever. You know what I mean? It depends what state, depending on exactly the laws. But if you perceive your home to be under threat in any...
You can
and
shoot a
someone's
gun.
doing a crime and you shoot them, you're probably not going to get in that much trouble over there. It's probably not even looked at as such a big deal over there. But this dude's best mate copped a fucking headshot while they were just climbing up to do some pieces on a fucking roof by a random vigilante dude just hanging a fucking pistol out the window like, you little fucking shits. Like,
I'm so happy we don't have gun. Oh, if we had gun culture like that in Australia, dude, fucking when we were younger and being little dickheads, at least like out of say 10 of our friend group, at least 6 of us would be dead now.
oh, how many more people from the loose shit that happens with drugs and alcohol in Adelaide? How many more people would have got shot? You know what I mean? So many.
It would have been wild. Like,
Many.
I got my firearms license, and it's that fucking strict in Australia.
Super strict.
It's actually not even worth me having my gun sometimes because I like to go hunting.
Yeah.
But it's that hard to go hunting in Australia, like
Yeah.
in Adelaide. It's almost not worth having.
Yeah.
And I can't use them if someone breaks into my house. I
No,
can't.
you're in trouble then.
If I even fucking threaten them with it,
Yeah.
if they break into my house with a knife,
Yeah.
and that's my last, if they somehow get past my fucking Rottweiler and fucking, for some reason, something happens, if I even open my gun safe, I will go fucking straight to jail.
Yeah, you're in trouble then.
Yeah, I'm fucked.
100%. I'm pretty sure if someone comes into your house in Australia, even if you stab them, you're in a bit of shit. Like,
Oh, if you bash them to death, you're fucked.
Yeah,
You'll probably
when-
get done for manslaughter. You probably
Yeah,
go. You
100%.
You'll go for like 5 years. You
Yeah.
won't. You'll probably have a good time.
yeah,
but
you might not be in there for fucking 20 years or whatever, but you're going to do time
Yeah.
for doing something like that in Australia.
I don't know the law of that. I know if someone breaks into your house, you should be able to beat the living fuck out of them.
It's a tough one, hey, because yeah, what do you want to do? Do you want to have some dude half bashed, all fucking stropping out in your house until the cops
shit-
get there, or
shit's
like
so
do you want to
frantic.
scare them off and get them to leave? Like, what's the vibe? You know, like
Shit would be so frantic. Like people like who have never been in a punch on have such a false like sense of how long they last because they watch movies and they think fights are like these long drawn fights last 3 seconds, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of fight.
And how puffed out are you from throwing a few punches that didn't hit or whatever? Because that also is a big thing in fighting. It is not a pretty little fucking intricately laid out fight scene, some Jet Li shit. You're literally trying to swing at some dude who won't stop fucking moving around and rah.
And you're usually
not,
drunk.
It's not very glorious, man.
Yeah.
Like the glory of a fight is usually talked up in the aftermath with a story. Oh yeah, he fucking threw a left hook at me, so I full ducked and gave him a right jab and softened me up. You know, like people talk all this crap, but it's like the fights are never that glorious, man. You know,
I used to love watching cunts punch on, but now I love fighting, like the sport of MMA. But if I go to town and I see a fight, I'm like, fucking, someone's going to die, bro.
Yeah, And drunk people do dumb shit like bottle people and glass them and shit. And, like, you never know what's going to happen when
Bottling,
you start.
Such an Aussie fucking...
Yeah.
I wonder if cunts in other countries bottle cunts.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's such an Australian fucking tactic.
It's weird because, like... I think we're pretty tame here compared to other places in the world because they might be like less socially developed or decayed or whatever, like, you know, second, third world countries and that. But these are countries that have been around for thousands of years. Their culture has grown. They've got traditions and shit. So whether they're like bones of their ass poor or whatever, they've got like often anyway, not everyone's the same, but there's often like local spiritual beliefs and cultural shit. Australia is the youngest country in the world as far as this
modern world
Western settlement here. We are the youngest country in the fucking world. There is no younger white settlement in the world, and we were kind of like the last place to be fucking done with. Everywhere else was already taken over, and people have been fighting over it for centuries and centuries and fucking millennia. Here, we've been here for 200 years, taken over and fucked over the local indigenous community, which is always what happens first. And then we don't, like, people say this is a Christian country, but
Australia's fucked, bro.
Even people who say they're Christian, I don't even know what they really know about what they're saying, or if they really have thought about it or they're believing in it, or if they even go to church or not. They might say it to sound good or something, but like we don't have a big spiritual culture here. We don't have a lot of culture other than like the barbecue, paro,
getting pissed on the fucking weekend,
fucking rinsed bras. You know what I mean? And that's cool, but I think we've got some growing to do. We
don't have a culture. Oh, it's hard because we got so many different cultures here. It's like just blended together.
And that is getting hectic these days too.
Bro, when I went to I went to this festival called Tomorrowland by myself in fucking Belgium. It's fucking like 200,000 people, massive.
Nice.
Like 4-day bender.
Sick.
It was insane.
Is this like camping at the site and everything?
You can, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It was fucking wild. It's the biggest festival in the world.
Nice.
And I went solo, and there's this thing there called Aussie Hill, and it's just a hill where all the Aussies go.
Yeah.
And it's like you can just fucking see it from the festival, and it's just fucking going off because drugs are cheap. They're excellent. And it's like Australians here, you have to pay fucking $400 for a gram. There it's like 40 euros, and you're getting like straight from fucking Colombia.
You're getting actual coke.
Yeah, and so Aussies are just getting loose, and it's like you just watch the other people from other countries like, what the fuck are these creatures,
I was going to say, like, I think I've wafted off a bit before, but definitely I think from what I've perceived, because I've worked in like factories and a lot of sort of cultural melting pot sort of working places, and the general perception from what I've gathered is that Australians get a lot more pissed to get pissed than most other places in the world. And of course there's going to be alcoholics everywhere, but we have a general thing where we go on our holidays and think everywhere's going to be cool with it, and some places are just like, you guys are fucked, you know.
Bro, when I went to Japan, I was actually Japan's got a big drinking culture, but they're pretty like tame people, and they're very like shy people. You're not allowed to shake their hands,
right?
Unless you're very friendly. Like if you're drinking with a bloke at a bar and you become very friendly,
like you build a rapport sort of thing.
It is so disrespectful to put your hand out to shake someone's hand that you fucking just bow or nod.
Yep.
And one night towards the end of the trip, I got fucking loose. And I was like, and I was being a fucking menace, and I like couldn't walk straight, and I was bumping into shit in alleyways, and the Japanese people apparently were like, oh, they just didn't know how to handle it.
I did see a little video the other day that was on the Japanese drinking culture, and
They go hard.
Apparently there's a thing where they are often workaholics, and apparently there's a huge amount of like middle-aged males who haven't got a partner over there.
They're called
as well.
salarymen.
Yeah. So they are working more than we work.
14-hour days.
Yeah, and it's because it's like expected to show respect to the workplace and your boss and all this. And then still at the end of the day, if your boss comes up to you and asks you out for a drink, apparently if you turn it down,
Oh, you're fucked.
It's
rude.
You're killing your career, dude.
Yeah.
Like you are meant to go out for that drink, and you are meant to sit there and drink with them until they're done. And even if it's 4 a.m. and you have to get up at 5:30 to go and do it all again, you must drink with them until they've decided the night's over, and then show up to work again and do it all again the next day. And
Right.
there was the video they showed all these Japanese
Yeah.
businessmen in nice suits with their briefcases asleep on the side of the fucking road because they're that munted from drinking all
Yeah.
night with their boss, and they probably literally just wake up, spray a bit of deodorant on, fucking splash some water on them, and go back to work the next day. Like, apparently that's a big thing over
They
there.
sell suits at 7-Eleven.
There you go.
Because like the salaryman will finish work at say like 10 p.m. They'll go out till fucking 4 a.m. And there's actually an Instagram. I can't remember the Instagram page. There's an Instagram page called fucking Japanese salaryman trains or something, and it's just videos and pictures of people vomiting. Like it's just passed out on the train on the way to work in the
So
morning.
good.
But it's fucking. There is some sick graffiti in Japan though.
Yeah.
It's very designated to certain spots.
Yeah.
Like you would never see it on the side of a building,
Yeah.
like around. But there is spots in like Osaka and stuff where I think it's like not legal, but like they let it happen.
It happens, yeah.
It's like they're hosier lanes and
Yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
And Japanese people, bro, whenever they just start doing something, they fucking take it to like a next level.
Yeah.
And the graffiti over there is like, there are a lot of characters and shit.
Yeah.
Like, and you're fucking I think you're the only person that I've had on that really fucks with characters.
Yeah, maybe.
I think so, because characters are like... So a lot of people have hell different opinions on characters.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, though, because it's fucking hard. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
I
easy.
think- Like, there's a lot of people that'll like copy off another cartoon character and chuck it next to their piece. I've always been I like to do original stuff.
I like the fucking aesthetic of the ones you do.
Yeah, it's some of it's like, once again, it's all made up on the spot.
Yeah.
Like, I've never done a character that like, obviously that fucking Nugget Man, like the fucking thing I did all the time, that white and black dude. I did that enough for it to be like I'm sketching and practicing as I got better and better at it. Like, you see some of the earlier ones of them and they look like they've fucking got cerebral palsy or something. But then you see as the years went on, that sort of grew and got better and better. And I had a lot of fun with that. But even other characters like multicolour ones, I would just make it up on the spot. It was just, I took it the same as a piece. It was just a new challenge and it was fun, man. It was something different. And I felt like that was more like anyone can appreciate that, not just graphers. Like,
That's the thing. It's more like if a fucking person's walking or like walks past a wall and they see a dope piece, like a wild style piece, they're not even going to be able to fucking read it. Like,
nah, and it's not going to mean much to them.
They're going to be like, okay, that's cool, it's colourful. But like if they see a fucking like character, especially one that's like relatable,
Yeah.
or one like just any form of character, they're like, oh, they know what it is straight
Yeah.
away. They're like, that's dope.
Oh, and kids love it. Little kids want to run up and
Yeah.
have a look. Mom, look. Like, the amount of like parents who contacted me like on the gram because of the characters I was doing, were like, oh, my kid thinks you're the best. Like, they want to do graffiti now. And I was like, oh shit, sorry. They're like, no, I think it's really good. You know, you're doing something that people can appreciate. And I was like, fuck, this is pretty cool. Because I when I first started doing that character, I was actually like a fucking pretty cooked fucking meth addict at the time.
Yeah.
And I was I had lost my grip on reality, man. Like, I wasn't just a bit cooked. I was like
Gone.
I was having so much psychosis, I couldn't even tell what was real or what was happening anymore.
Meth was a big one back in the day in Adelaide.
It fucking rinsed me, man. And I don't regret it because it made me want to do more important things with the time I got. It made me value the time of my life and make me want to push for doing better things.
You got out pretty good, though.
I'm lucky, man. It took a while. It took a while. It wasn't like I just stopped and was better, you know? Like, it probably took a whole year or so
to get back to normal.
Of really doing all the, like, going to the gym, eating very healthy, like, reminding myself what's going on in my head will be trustable eventually, but, you know, what took so many years to break is going to take so much time to mend. You don't just click your fingers and get out of, like, drug-induced psychosis and like ongoing psychosis issues.
Yeah, you got to rebuild brick by brick.
Yeah, and you know what? There's not a lot of psychologists or counsellors either that even understand that, because it's such a... Like, I've met that many different crackheads who've had that much different psychosis going on. It's not one thing. There isn't one way to fix it. And the saddest thing about it is I'd say more than half of them probably believe the things that they're experiencing are what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's how lost you can get. Like, you can have a thought and then I'd see your mouth moving and you'd be talking to me about it. So that's my whole reality has changed due to my belief system or whatever's going on in my head. It blew my mind what your mind can do that isn't happening, that is like trickery of reality.
Yeah, playing tricks on you, eh?
So I was so lost in that place, and I remember thinking I need something better to focus on that's like an ongoing project. And the graff was something I was still doing then, but letters weren't enough. And I was like, I need to start giving back. I feel like this habit has been making me into someone that's taken away so much from other people, from myself, from society, whatever. I'm being a shit cunt. I need to start changing my behaviours to reflect someone who deserves to get their fucking sanity back and deserves to get their life back. And I got a job again. I didn't work for a few years, but I was going to a job again, and I remember I'd be stuck in peak hour traffic on the way home and seeing these cool little spots that you couldn't do a fat piece on, but they're there and you're stuck. There's hundreds of people stuck in these traffic jams every day, and these spots are just here on the side of the road near main intersections and stuff. And I was like, if you just did like a little character or something, like a throw up sort of like thing that people recognize, like if someone's got a good throw up and they keep doing the same one, you recognize that whether you can read it or not. It's like it's a branding almost. And I was like, man, I want to do something different, and I want to focus on like something that makes me put effort in ongoingly and grow as a person and just put some distance between me and this habit. And that little character, that Nugget Man character, like was a huge part of what helped me focus on something different and put some... I felt like it was a more positive way than just graphing up.
Yeah. To
put back into the world and start getting some good energy coming my way rather than just feeling like an ex-drug addict fucking shit cunt grapher sort of thing, like, which is where my head was at the time. Yeah, that character got better as I got better, and yeah,
it's fucking sick.
It was so much fun.
It's fucking sick. It looked like those... What were those fucking NFTs that grew like massive? Those monkeys.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It's got like a similar aesthetic to that,
right.
And it's a very like specific aesthetic. It's
Yeah,
just
right.
like a caricature, but it looks cool.
Yeah, no, cheers, bro.
But you did pretty fucking well off, because I know a lot of my old mates fucking got on the pipe. Because it was just what you did fucking 10 years ago. It was the drug of choice for everyone. And because it was just so available everywhere.
Well, you might not even choose it, man. It might just happen, and then
there.
suddenly it's in your fucking life whether you like it or not, man.
And I know some cunts, bro, that had like a 6 month to a year stint on it. And there's one bloke in particular that I used to know, and he's a fucking shell of a human now. Like, he doesn't do it anymore, but his brain was not wired correctly beforehand.
Yeah.
And now when you talk to him, when you talk to an ex-cooked cunt, and it looks like they're looking at you, but they're not even looking at you.
Yeah.
Like, they are looking straight through you. Like, there is a fucking glazed look in this cunt's
It's a bit of a zombie vibe, man.
like,
it's a full zombie vibe, and it's fucking sad, man. Like,
and he's got like a little stutter.
Yeah.
And his fucking...
Well, it rattles your nervous system, man. If you're doing big benders on that shit week in, week out, let's be honest, you're probably awake for fucking anywhere from 5 to 10 days at a time sometimes.
I don't know how people...
Sleeping for 2 or 3 days, and you wake up. And in your head, you might... If you're not liking the habit, you're probably telling yourself at the end of that big bender...
This is it.
Oh, this is it. I've got an ounce of weed. When I wake up, I'm just going to fucking get some good rest and get my shit back together. Wake up, you got no gear left or nothing, you're smoking those bongs and you start passing out and you feel like, fuck, I got no energy. Oh, I'll just go get a little bit just to get me through today. But that's the fucking insanity of it, is you keep going back for it because it's all that keeps your life even buzzing on any level. But it's just a fucking mess, man. Like, honestly, I wouldn't wish that shit on anyone, man.
My best mate, Will, when he was alive, he fucking topped himself. So me and my mate Chris and him were all like very, very close.
Yep.
And we went out one night and fucking Will broke his femur bone. He snapped his femur bone in half. And it was like 2 weeks. Oh, it was like 3 weeks after that. Or even longer. It would have been like a month and a half after that. So he still couldn't walk properly.
Yeah. Oh, that's a long heel, snapping a femur, man.
He couldn't walk properly still. He could never really walk that great again. But he was up and hobbling. Went on a bender. He decided... I went to work and he decided to kick on.
Yeah.
And he did some crack. And I don't think he'd done it. And he was like, I need to go to sleep. So
you're not. You're not, though.
He had a bong to try and go to sleep.
Oh, shit.
He ended up going into a thick drug-induced psychosis.
Yep.
My mate Chris's ex at the time was in the room next door to him. She just heard a beer bottle smash. He fucking smashed a beer bottle, stabbed himself in the neck like 4 times.
Oh, shit.
Jumped through his fucking window.
Oh.
Scaled a fucking 2-meter fence with a broken femur bone. Jesus. Landed in the backyard where there was these 2 kids playing.
Oh, fuck.
And he was like, help me. Fucking...
Looking like he's just been fucking half murdered.
His fucking jugular vein, bro. He's spurting blood. And like, the room looked like a fucking murder scene. Like 10 cunts got murdered in the room.
That's
He
fucked.
woke up in the hospital. He was like, what the fuck happened? Like,
Yeah.
he had no recollection of what the fuck happened. He just went into... Because he mixed the right amount of upper with the fucking right amount of downer.
Yep.
He just fucking snapped.
Yep.
And he fucking woke up and he was like, fuck, I do not remember any of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird drug, man. I think weed's very similar.
I can't smoke weed, bro. It fucking makes me too anxious.
I don't smoke it because I can't handle the responsibility of not smoking it constantly. Like, if I could
Yeah.
handle just having a cone or 2 here or there, or a puff on a joint here or there, I'd probably fucking still get stoned every now and then. I do enjoy, in the right setting, getting a little bit stoned, but...
You will fucking have the bag there and you
within
have to
2
smoke
weeks,
the
I'm
whole
smoking
bag.
an ounce a week of backy bongs again, and it's just like I feel like a crackhead on bongs. You know what I mean?
I don't know how people function on marijuana because I'm like, when I get stoned, I'm on the couch, I'm eating too much, and I don't want to do anything.
Nah.
Like, I'm not functional
That's
at all.
another reason why I don't want to do it, because I've got too many things. I'm 40 now. I've got too many things. Like that time on the crack, it sort of made me realise what I was capable of creatively, because I had all this time. I'd stopped working. I had a shitload of money saved up at the time too, so I wasn't a scrounging crackhead. I was going out and buying a ball and smoking a fucking 3.5 gram bag of crack in the next 4 days and just pumping that pipe like an absolute fucking menace. And then I'd run out and be like, oh, I'll just go get some more. Like, there was nothing limiting my usage, and the amount of time I spent in that dopamine flooded. My imagination is already killer. My imagination went to like fucking God mode, I felt like at the time. Like, it was giving me all these creative ideas, all this fucking huge inspiration. But you're too busy fucking around with this drug all the time to get most of it done properly, or you might start something.
Scattered.
And you start something, but you don't finish it, and then you go on a week-long bender with a mate at his place and don't leave his shed for a whole fucking week. And you get home, and the last thing you feel like doing is trying to commit to that again. So you go to sleep and you wake up and you start another big fucking thing. So it's like it was very inspiring, very mind-opening, but also as soon as you can see it all, it'll fucking take it all away as well, man. That drug, I don't care who you fucking are, manages to take away so much of who anyone is.
There's no such thing as a high functioning crackhead. Eventually it'll get you. Eventually, like if you continue with the habit, like if you were still doing that, you wouldn't have the savings anymore.
And then you'd have to be hustling hard. And even then, that's all you're doing just to keep getting by, you know what I mean? You don't have a life. You're a fucking serious drug dealer. And in that world, you're dealing with more scumbags that'd rip you off than any other drug world, full stop.
They're willing to kill you over a point.
Or more like every kind of swindler, desperate beggar, like, oh, I'm good for it, bro, I'll hook you up. Or they might buy a few deals off you, make a bit of a rapport with you, then get a deal off you, and then you're chasing them for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they don't work. They're on other people's couches. You're trying to find people. Your whole life is stress.
It's a putrid world,
Trying to deal with that shit, dude. It is putrid. No, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, man. The only people I know are pretty fucking heavy who have actually done the dealing of that shit and made it look semi-successful are dealing so much of it in bigger quantities, and that's why. But you have to know people in that world and be a part of that heavy fucked up world.
You have to be willing to do some fucking real miserable shit too.
I think it's a pretty loveless world, dude.
Yeah.
Like if some people are pretty emotionally in touch with themselves or void of that, and that's how you'd survive in that world. Because if you're a person who cares about people and cares about yourself and actually has feelings that you're willing to admit and feel, you're not having a good time on that drug, man. It'll fucking rinse you.
That's like in America.
It'll turn you insane as well. Like the amount of friends I've got who are like schizophrenic now and will not change. That is just where they've got to, and the way their head works. They don't even want to admit that and work on that, let alone admit that it's self-inflicted on a certain level. And yet they probably still fucking do the shit, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's sad, man. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It's a fucking mess. It's a fucking mess.
They decriminalised all the drugs in fucking, like, I think it's Montreal.
Yeah, right.
In Canada.
Yep.
And it fucking just went the opposite way to, like, how they thought. And
everyone's cooked.
No, like, there's cunts on the streets and they've developed spinal cord issues because they've done so much fentanyl and they're just lean. They look like... There's parts of, like, Canada now that look like a fucking zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like, because... people, homeless cunts or drug addicts are now migrating there because
they get away with it.
It's decriminalised.
And it's easy,
And it's just everywhere. So there's like just suburbs on suburbs of fucking homeless cunts on fentanyl everywhere.
It's a flat out epidemic, man. I remember they called it, it was before 2010, I reckon. Around that sort of time, though, they were saying there's an ice epidemic here, and I remember I had friends who were doing it. I'm thinking, what are you doing, man? And there was a dealer or two for like that I was getting weed off of, and they'd all be smoking the shit. And I'd go around there after work. I was working in hospitality. Go around there after work, buy some weed, chill out, and smoke weed, and play some video games with them. But then I'd go off and go home to bed, and I'd come back the next day to have a sesh after work or whatever. They're still up. They're still playing the video games. You know, like, I was just sort of like realising how badly that shit grips people.
They're probably still doing it now. They're probably still fucking playing video games.
I think it's sad, though, because, like, when you've got a bit of money, you can kind of get away with the habit because you can always buy yourself some food and you can buy yourself out of the situation that's turning sour.
You think you don't have a problem because it's not affecting your bankroll.
When the money runs out...
Yeah.
Eventually, you don't get your shit together too much on that drug to the point where you've got no money. You have become the peasant in that world, and you are scrounging just to get high, man. You've lost the ability to have your car. You've probably sold your car or got it taken off you because you didn't pay for a deal or something. You've probably hocked in every possession you've got that's worth anything, or been kicked out of a house and just lost everything because you weren't paying rent and couldn't be fucked facing it at the time. Like, yeah, it's a dicey, dark fucking scene, man. I feel for anyone caught in it, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone, eh? Like,
well, you fucking got out of it, and fucking your art fucking speaks for itself, dude. We'll cut it short because it is grand final day. So after all this sober talk, I do have fucking 6 beers to demolish right now.
Go for it, bro. You've got my permission.
Oh, thank you. But it was a pleasure. Next time you come, maybe fucking we'll do a couple mushrooms and fucking go deep on one.
Yeah.
When you have like a free night or something.
Yeah, dude.
We'll get you back on in a fucking couple months.
Yeah.
But it's been a fucking pleasure.
Straight back at you, bro.
Always appreciate Graffiti Artists coming on because I know a lot of you cunts don't like to get in front of cameras and talk. Like, a lot of them don't, but it's always nice when someone does. So
Yeah.
cheers for coming on, brother.
Straight up.
Thank
Pleasure,
you.
bro.